Wow, that one really came out of left field, didn't it? Microsoft's about to splash the cash. They're going to be buying EA. They're going to be buying Valve. They're going to be buying PUBG. They're going to... Hold on a minute. I looked at these videos and stories that have been coming out over the last week or so, and the first thing that came to my mind was, this seems a little bit far-fetched. So I thought, right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and have a look at the article that originated these stories. And so I went across to Polygon, and that's where the article came from, and I'll put a link in. And I had a look at the article, and basically I concluded that this is not so much a case of reporting the news as creating the news. Because I was looking at this and I was saying, well, where's this all coming from? And Polygon was saying that they had sources close to Microsoft. But that could be anyone. It could be the guy who mows Phil Spencer's lawn, for crying out loud. You can imagine it, can't you? The reporter outside Phil's house. Hey, Bernie, what do you think about Microsoft buying EA? Bernie waves his hands around because he can't hear because he's mowing the lawn. Here, Bernie, turn the lawnmower off. Okay, so Bernie, right. We've got the lawnmower off. You can hear me, yeah? Bernie gives the thumbs up. So, what do you think about Microsoft buying EA? Yeah, says Bernie. So the reporter sidles up to Bernie and says, and what about Valve or PUBG? Cool, says Bernie. Phil gave my kid an Xbox. He loves PUBG. The Polygon reporter writes, Microsoft to acquire Valve and PUBG. As I say, it could have come from anywhere. It could have been the cleaner, the gardener, it could have been the candlestick maker. Who knows? Who knows where this came from? As I say, this is a story. It's not news. It is a story. And that's confirmed when you go into this and you see that the article they released the next day is about this too. And they are talking to market analysts. And guess what the market analysts do? Well, they pretty much pour cold water on all of this. I start to look at this then and I'm thinking, oh look, they've created a whole news cycle there, just with that one story. They put out a story and then they report on their own story. And then they talk to other people to talk about what they've written in their story. And those people say, well, no, I don't think it's very likely. So it goes. I just look at this and the initial story was just speculation being dressed up as actual news. And then the follow-up article was, well, just carrying on from there. I don't know whether they were having a slow news week or what. But the fact of the matter is, there doesn't seem to be any substance to this at all. But given all that, is any of this actually likely? Could their speculation be right? Well, for my money, PUBG seems the most likely to make sense. It's sold, 4 million copies or so on the Xbox since it was released. And, you know, it's going to continue to sell, isn't it? It's both going to sell in its own right and it could also help to push Xbox consoles. So yeah, I don't see that being so far-fetched, and as speculation goes, it's a reasonable bit of speculation. Whether Microsoft will actually be able to acquire it is another matter, but hey, you know, we can all speculate on that. Valve, that's also an interesting one. It would make sense for Microsoft given their PC history and how they're trying to incorporate PC and Xbox and almost make them the same thing. They're looking at services, they're not looking at boxes, as some people have pointed out and I keep saying. But would Gabe Newell actually sell to Microsoft? He used to work for Microsoft and I don't think he's got much time for them. But, you know, he's apparently getting on and he could be looking to retire, so maybe he would. It would, let's be honest, be an awesome acquisition for Microsoft, and it would allow them to expand their gaming platforms both in terms of Xbox and PC. Can you imagine Steam coming over to the Xbox? That would be a real selling point for the Xbox, wouldn't it? And they could maybe merge Steam into Game Pass. I don't know how they'd do it. It'd be a big project. And then obviously there's games. If Microsoft were to get hold of Valve and they were to announce that Half-Life 3 was coming out on the Xbox, and obviously it would come out on Game Pass because that's their new way of doing things, well, the world would explode, I think. Certainly the gaming world would explode. And, obviously that's just scratching the surface. Microsoft owning Steam would put them at the forefront of PC gaming in a way that they can currently only dream of. It would be a big, big deal. There would be a problem there, though, because being that would be such a big deal and it would put Microsoft so much in the driving seat as regards PC gaming, it might attract the attention of, sort of things like monopolies commissions. So that could be a difficult one for them to navigate. And, it could take a long time for them to actually get the deal through. But we see that Disney are currently trying to buy Fox, which, well, frankly, is a much bigger deal than Microsoft buying Steam. So it's not completely ridiculous. Big takeovers and buyouts happen all the time, so it could happen. But what about EA? Well, the analysts Polygon spoke to thought that was out of the question because EA's value lies primarily in its license deals, Star Wars, FIFA, that kind of thing. And they only make sense for a multi-platform publisher or developer. And some people have speculated that if Microsoft did buy EA, it could be them trying to just become a publisher and not be in the hardware market at all. And I don't believe that for a second. EA sells more copies to PlayStation currently. I suppose that could be an argument for them to be going as a publisher. But I think Microsoft have a much bigger overarching view of where gaming's going, and the hardware's only a small part of that. Buying EA for them, well, it could actually help push people towards things like Game Pass, because if they had EA and all those EA games were coming out on Game Pass on day one, then, that would be a big deal. I could see that actually driving the install base of things like Game Pass. But even for Microsoft, EA would be a big fish to eat. I mean, Microsoft's got, $140 billion lying around? But the estimates for EA are that it would cost them around $45 billion. Well, that's a lot of cash, even for Microsoft. And would they be prepared to splash that much cash? I don't know. Personally, I don't think they would. I think it would be much more likely, if they are in talks with EA, that they're looking at one or maybe two studios. And here's my own bit of wild speculation. They could even be in talks to merge EA Access with Game Pass and offer EA games as part of the package. How about that? No, I don't believe that one either. But hey, if we're speculating. That brings me back to my main point now. We can all speculate, but citing anonymous sources doesn't turn that speculation into a news story, does it? This story's so wide-ranging in its claims that it feels more like the information you get from a clairvoyant than a reporter. And for the record, I think that clairvoyants are either deluded liars or deluded liars. I don't put a lot of credence in this article, to be honest. I don't think that this is anything more than, as I've already said, speculation. But what do you guys think? Do you think there's any chance that Microsoft might be looking at EA or Valve or PUBG? Do you think they're looking to expand more into PC gaming? Obviously they are. But do you think that Valve would be a good way of doing that? Well, obviously it would, but I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, I just think this is a story that has been generated because it was a slow news week or something like that. I don't think that there's necessarily any credence to any of this. But you guys might disagree with me. Let me know in the comments and we'll have a chat about this. It's interesting, whatever it is. But I do think we need to take these kind of articles with a pinch of salt and not get our panties in a pickle over it. But anyway, that's me done. That's my opinion on it. As I say, let me know what you think in the comments. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go and grab myself a cup of tea. And yeah, I'm out of here. Speak to you in the next one. Bye.